Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters. Yesterday, we saw how Jesus was rejected by his own kinsmen. But there's no stopping Jesus from fulfilling the mission the Father had given him. And in order to exponentially multiply his reach, he summons the 12 and he begins to send them out two by two, giving them authority over unclean spirits. You can almost hear the sense of urgency in the sending forth of the disciples in the gospel today. Jesus knew that no time should be wasted. They needed to proclaim the message as fast as they could, as effectively as they could, as far reaching as they could. Nothing or no one should stop his disciples from doing so. And so you can understand the rationale behind the instructions of Jesus. He says, take nothing for the journey but a walking stick. No food, no sack, no money in their belts. Wear sandals but not a second tunic. In short, simplify. Do not be bogged down by material provisions. And we know this by experience. Although we haven't traveled lately that much because of the pandemic, we know that perhaps one of the hardest thing to do when traveling is preparing your luggage. You think of what to bring, you try to imagine what you will be wearing each day during the trip. You think of how to put them all in one luggage or in the less number in the, the s- minimum number of luggages. You spend so much time packing your stuff, but the story doesn't end there. If that's international travel, you try to weigh your luggage. You want to make sure you don't exceed your weight limit. Sometimes you're at the airport, you realize you exceeded weight limit or put items that are not really allowed, so you make a mess there and try to fix things. It really causes a lot of delay. And the story doesn't end there. All throughout the trip, your luggage oftentimes becomes the problem. It becomes the cause of delay and the cause of worries. So much time is wasted because of it. So we understand what Jesus wanted his disciples to do. The mission is urgent. So do not allow material provisions to delay you, to divide your attention, to bug you down. And then Jesus says, wherever house you enter, stay there until you leave. If they don't welcome you or listen to you, leave and shake the dust off your feet in testimony against them. In short, do not be bogged down also by people who do not welcome you. We know this too by experience. In the mission, you will encounter people who will welcome you and listen to you, but unavoidably too, there will be people who will reject you and even argue with you. And our tendency is to argue too, to prove our point, to even try to win the argument. And you realize the enemy won't stop. They too will try to win over you until the argument gets unnecessarily prolonged. You spend so much time winning the argument, you realize that that time could have been better spent when you move on and you preach to others. While we should not stop our efforts to convert people, including our enemies, we should also learn when to distance ourselves for a moment so that others could benefit from our service. Move on and don't be bogged down by unbelievers. Friends, our mission to preach the good news is urgent. The temptations of the world and the enemy will try to delay us, to stop us, to bug us down. But we cannot let that happen. We need to move forward, be undeterred, be focused on the mission, so that, like the disciples, we can anoint many who are sick and who need our care. Amen.